What's up, cousins? It's your programmer Ryan coming here with another beard update. Another question about programming. So I had a question from Sushant Lama, a comment question, which basically said, don't we need to learn data structures and algorithms? And for context, that question was asked on a video which was entitled, How to Be a Job-Ready Android Developer. So I want to answer a couple of things that will hopefully paint a picture to answer the entire question. And what I wanted to start with is, in my opinion, the difference between a software developer and engineer in general. Now, you have to understand that this is not something that is agreed upon by every company or every software developer or every software engineer. So I'm going to give you a generalized opinion and some supporting ideas, but understand, like I say, I've met people who fit either category, but by title or by what they call themselves, they use the other name. What the hell am I talking about? So in my opinion, a software developer is basically someone who builds applications or software. I guess it could be something like a build tool, but they're writing software. And a software developer, in my opinion, does not necessarily need to have an extensive knowledge or pretty much any formal study. And that's an important part, formal study, because you're always going to be doing a little bit of it if you're writing code, of data structures and algorithms. And this is backed up by the fact that I talk with many people who call themselves software developers and who work as software developers who do not possess an extensive knowledge of data structures and algorithms. They might even have no idea what computational complexity or asymptotic complexity is, or the difference between a binary search and an iteration search, and those sorts of things. I'll tell you how to learn those things later on in the video, because I have a good learning resource for you that's free. So that's kind of my view as a software developer. I very much fit into that category until the end of 2018, when I really started. In 2019, I started to actually formally study data structures and algorithms. Now, in my opinion, what differentiates that with a software engineer is, in my opinion, and again, I've met people who have this title but don't necessarily fit what I'm about to say here. They should, if you're a software engineer, and as a reply to Sushant, if the title of that video was How to Be a Job-Ready Software Engineer, I do think in that case I would expect the person to at least have a comprehensive understanding of the basics of software engineering. So in my mind, that is the difference between an engineer. An engineer will actually be looking at numbers and calculating efficiencies and running benchmarks, and then there's of course the theoretical and practical knowledge in how to shrink those numbers, how to get the application to respond more efficiently even when you have millions of users or stuff like that. That leads me into the second point. In general, when should you expect to know or need to know about data structures and algorithms, whether you are applying as a software developer or a software engineer? Simply put, when the size of the data sets that you are working on in an application, or the complexity of the calculations you're working on, the algorithms, reaches a certain point, you will need to know that. Let me explain that in simpler terms. If you want to work at Facebook, Google, Amazon, the big tech companies, even as a software developer, I think more than likely, from personal experience, they are going to bombard you with questions about data structures and algorithms. And if you want to apply as a software engineer, I was in the selection process at one of those companies as an Android software engineer. I didn't end up getting the job, but that's because they wouldn't sponsor me. I didn't make it all the way through the process, but I passed the first two interviews pretty well. So in that case, I was bombarded with questions about data structures and algorithms. Now, it totally depends. You might find a position at a small company that calls they're looking for a software engineer, and the owners of the company don't even know what runtime complexity it is. They just think a software engineer is someone who builds applications. So that's really what I think you should focus on here. To answer that question, when should I learn it, or when should I be expected to know it? It's when the size of the data sets, so millions of users, billions of users, those sorts of things come into play. Finally, if you would like to get a comprehensive, simply explained, as simple as I can manage it, introduction to the basics, the fundamentals of software engineering, I've written an article on Free Code Camp. I believe this article has actually gotten millions of reads at this point, which I'm pretty stoked about. I credit that with Free Code Camp's giant platform. But it's a really, really popular article. And if you are a beginner and you want to learn the basics of software engineering, including when it becomes important and all the things I just talked about, then click the link down below to the Free Code Camp article. It's free. And if you like this video, please do me a favor and hit the like button down below. Consider subscribing and ask a question down below as well, and I might just do a video on your question. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later.